On King David, it's bussin' on the Cartoon News Network. For 4 years, there was a nationwide manhunt for Donnell Scandalous Jehan. 44 of his fellow Black Disciples gang members were arrested in 2004, as a result of a federal RICO indictment, where Scandalous is named as one of the 3 BD kings that controlled the gang. 3 people in the indictment fled as fugitives from the law, but King Scandalous was the most elusive. On June 12, 2007, the Chicago office of the FBI announced that they were increasing the reward being offered in exchange for information leading to the arrest of Jehan. Following the arrests of LaShawn Ford in October 2006, and Finney Hawkins in March 2007, Jehan was the only remaining fugitive. The FBI offered a reward for his arrest. He was featured on the TV show, America's Most Wanted, and he finally turned himself into authorities in 2008, after seeing a billboard of his face plastered with the caption, "Wanted." In 2004, it was revealed that King Scandalous was banging Alderman Troutman, while he operated a $300,000 a day drug operation with the BDs in Troutman's ward. King Scandalous was seen driving Troutman's luxury SUV by an FBI informant. At the time, Troutman commented that she thought he was a businessman, and that she'd let everybody drive her car. During the raid on Jehan's house in 2004, authorities discovered a wet towel and 2 Chicago Police Department envelopes addressed to Troutman, leading them to believe that King Scandalous received a tip that the feds were coming, took a shower, and left with his pet dog. The seized envelopes were empty, but a police source said it was not uncommon for the department's top commanders to communicate with aldermen, providing crime statistics for their wards, notifying them of community meetings, or updating them on gang loitering enforcement. What's unusual is where the envelopes ended up, said a city police source, speaking on condition of anonymity. This is the life and legacy of Donnell King Scandalous Jehan, part 2 of our 4-part series on all of the BD Kings, and the lost history of the Black Disciple Street Gang. In 1989, 2 important events would reshape the BDs. Jerome King Shorty Freeman was sent to jail, and Marvale Thompson, the Supreme High Minister of the BDs, and future king, made Scandalous, who was a GD, an offer that sounded almost too good to be true. He would appoint Scandalous as a BD minister, supply him with drugs at a cheaper price, and help him expand his drug empire outside of the Calumet building. Scandalous, and his whole crew, the most infamous being the BD twins, OTF Lil Varney's dad and uncle, Varney and Varma Voker, flipped to BDs, and ran the remaining GDs out of the Calumet building. There were 26 confidential witnesses in the 2004 RICO case against the BDs. Confidential witness 7 was Varney Voker's ex-wife, Jessica Lacey Voker. She voluntarily contacted the feds in June 2002. According to her statements to authorities, she met Varney in 1997 at a car wash he owned with his twin brother in Atlanta. A week later, Varney was pillow-talking his way to a prison cell with a hooker, bought a Benz, and told Jessica that his twin brother had given him $1 million, upon his release from prison in 1995 on drug charges. The couple moved to Las Vegas, where they were married in 2000. In Vegas, he continued to sell drugs, and she sold pussy while working for an escort service. So, when I said he was pillow-talking with a hooker, I meant it literally. Crazy, right? According to Jessica, Varma would often fly to Vegas to see his brother, and she learned that the twins paid Scandalous $80,000 a month for the right to sell heroin in the Calumet building. Scandalous would then give King Vale his cut. While confidential witness 7 was living with Varney Voker in Las Vegas, Thompson occasionally called him on the telephone. Varney Voker feared Thompson, but they developed a relationship because Varney Voker made Thompson so much money.
In our next video, we'll explore the lives of the BD twins, through the eyes of Jessica Lacey Voker, so please put some pressure on that like button, and subscribe to the Cartoon News Network, so you don't miss the explosive story. At a raucous event that was part news conference, part political theater, in May 2024, Alderman Troutman from the 20th Ward, refused to say whether she's had a personal relationship with a street gang kingpin, insisting she was innocent of any wrongdoing. Troutman said, she knew Donnell Scandalous Jehan, as a local businessman, but would not disclose whether the association went beyond that of an alderman, and a constituent, even though her brother had already admitted they were lovers to the press. Troutman said she learned of criminal allegations against Jehan and Marvell Thompson, whom she acknowledged she also knew as a local businessman, when agents made their May 13, 2004 sweep of BD arrests. "There is no way I would be involved in any criminal activity, no way I would allow drugs," she said. "Dope is a cancer, dope is bad, dope is killing our community." "They looked like what they said they were, businessmen," Troutman said. "They talked like businessmen. They were dressed like businessmen. They had business to discuss." Troutman suggested that, perhaps, she gave Scandalous the envelopes found from her office in his house, during the FBI raid, in a totally innocent capacity. "If someone came in and he was to receive something from me that was loose, I may look under my desk, where we keep recycled envelopes, and place the contents in any one of these envelopes," she said. And while that part of her story sounds ridiculous, she probably didn't know that Jehan was. Around the time her relationship with Scandalous ended, Troutman reported several break-ins at her home, and requested 24-hour police presence. This action was noticed and reported on by several firearms advocacy groups including the Second Amendment Foundation, and the website Women and Guns. On January 8, 2007, Troutman was arrested and charged with accepting a bribe from a federal informant, as part of an undercover investigation. Despite her arrest and indictment on bribery charges, Troutman was a candidate in the February 27, 2007, election. Troutman was defeated by Willie Cochran, a former Chicago Police Department sergeant. On August 6, 2008, Troutman pleaded guilty to 2 federal counts, including admitting to taking bribes as an alderman. Troutman was sentenced to 4 years in prison on February 17, 2009.
The evidence against Troutman included FBI tapes, where Troutman allegedly compared Chicago politics to prostitution, calling most aldermen hoes. Most gangbangers are also just like prostitutes because they are hoes that will snitch in order to receive less jail time, and Scandalous was no different. After he surrendered to police, in 2008, Scandalous pleaded guilty to the RICO charges. In his plea agreement, he acknowledged responsibility for at least 1.5 kilograms of crack, 150 kilograms of powder cocaine, and 30 kilograms of heroin. In other words, the plea agreement, if accepted, contemplated 2 alternative outcomes for King Scandalous. 1, 300 months if Jehan cooperated, and 2, life imprisonment if he did not. The agreement further provided, however, that he might become eligible for a sentence reduction, under Federal Rule of Criminal Procedure 35B, if he later assisted the government in a manner not taken into account already by the existing agreement. Years later, in February 2015, the government moved under Rule 35B, 2C, to reduce Jehan's sentence after someone associated with Jehan provided information that led to the arrest of 3 people. The government proposed a new sentence of at least 240 months, a 20% reduction from 300 months, and Donnell Scandalous Jehan, known on the streets as King Scan, is scheduled for release from prison in 2025. Now that you know the real story, here's Snitch's news exaggerating, making shit up, and telling more lies.
The guys are doing down this in paperwork. You can go online and look at their paperwork. All their paperwork that's up and up. Them boys, they were so connected with the aldermen and stuff like that, that they end up getting the envelope of their indictment. The indictment that the feds give to the mayors and shit like that. They had that paperwork, bro, and they went on the run, bro. Half of them went on the run. It was a guy by the name of Scam, man. He went on the run, bro. He was on America's Most Wanted. He was on all that. He went on the run for like 6-7 years, bro, without getting caught. Just off being tipped off that indictment. You know, there was a lot of good things back then. Yeah, anything extra. I said extra now. Food, hygiene, clothes, bag it up, take it outside, and give it to the less fortunate. Remember, we all one step away from being homeless. I don't care how much money you say you got or think you got. Man, Mother Nature could come and change your plans, man. Now you homeless. Hey, let's say the kids, the women, the elderly, the neutrons, and the civilians, man. Hey, with that being said, man, I need y'all to smash that like button. Saturday.